Yeah, we've been talking a lot about these missile strikes, but there's been a real surge these last few days. Russian missile attacks across the whole of Ukraine. Ukraine claims that 29 and 30 have been shot down. You're never quite sure what the truth is behind that. But one did get through at Odessa, just down by you. One of the Russian missiles struck an industrial facility there. Apparently one person died and 2 people were badly injured. The Ukrainians also claim they shot down 2 armed drones and 2 reconnaissance drones as well. These Russian missile attacks came from land, air and sea, but crucially, they also included the Kinzhal missiles, 6, remember the hypersonic missiles that Russia had claimed were undefeatable, but 6 of those were involved and shot down as well. But it's not been all one way as part of this, the news on Crimea, Russian-occupied Crimea overnight. The railway was derailed as well. Apparently some form of explosion. The Russian authorities say that, that nobody was hurt, but that it was carrying grain. But what they have said, it's suspended all its railway movements along that. It is worth pointing out that any railway on Crimea is vital for Russian logistics resupply for their war effort.
And meanwhile, we saw on that map that there was also strikes on Kyiv, and we've, as we said in our introduction as well. Why are the Russians particularly targeting Kyiv?
The only person who would actually know that, obviously, would be Putin. But after a 50-day lull, there's been a massive spike up. And for 9 days this month, there's been a massive load of attacks on Kyiv, normally between the hours of about 9 and 5:30 in the morning, at its most disruptive. And although Ukraine has been very successful at shooting them down, the debris falls down and has caused fires all over the place. As to the why, probably the 3 main reasons are probably that Russia's got limited options to attack Ukraine at the moment, and therefore by firing missiles at the capital is a way of just keeping their heads down. Secondly, Russia wants to distract and disrupt Ukraine as they try and prepare for their spring offensive. And finally, they'll know that Kyiv will have a limited supply of air defence weapons. The more they can saturate them, the more they run out. It is worth pointing out as well, though, yesterday there was a lot of reports that one of the Patriot missile systems, the US systems that are providing the umbrella at Kyiv, apparently Russia had destroyed one. So Russia would almost certainly, if they believed that, would have intensified attacks because they'd known they could get through. It actually looks to be the case that if it was damaged, it was only lightly damaged, and it's actually fully up and running again. So the protective umbrella is in place.
And briefly, Sean, we've heard a lot about Ukraine asking for fighter jets to help defend their country. Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister, has offered to train pilots. Are we getting any more details on how that could impact the RAF's training programmes?
Yeah, I know we're quite short of time, but the fact is that the UK doesn't operate F-16s, so we'd have to do flying training as an opportunity. Would that impact the number of pilots that we put through our training system? Probably the answer is yes. 3 points, though. First of all, we've got time to expand the training system, so that's an option. Secondly, the rest of the country is supporting Ukraine. There's compromises everywhere. If that's a compromise the RAF has to make, then so be it. The third one, this is actually a coalition of the willing, so it's not just the UK. And the fact the UK may not provide the platforms because we don't fly these, we do have the oldest flying training school in the central flying system at the heart of the Royal Air Force. Therefore, training is ideally the place that we would take the lead.